me wait a little. It's nice to have some people here that I know. No one's. Bruna asks me if I'm okay here. I'm in Porto Alegre. And yes, I am dealing with all these things. And I'm like, it's very sad. Um, the scenario is like the worst ever. But we're okay. Helping like the others is way like ways we can. And we have now I have running water after 15 days. No, like so it's good news. And we're doing okay. Hello, David from Bolivia, and then Yasmin from Sao Paulo. Hello, everyone. Let me see. Thank you, Alan. We are. Hello, hi. I'm from Passo Fundo, close here. Now, like, hello, be welcome, everyone. Okay. Hello. Be welcome. Hi. Just giving people some time like, to get in here, to get to know, to have a seat. Hi from Turkey. How nice. Be welcome. From Sao Paulo, people from all over. Okay. From Mohates, from Minas. That's really nice to have you here. I'm really glad that you're all here. I know that sometimes like Friday afternoon is hard and like this time. From some people from Kenya. Is that? No. Thank you very much for being here. Let me ask you something. Can you see my presentation? Okay. So today, like first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Tati. Okay, I'm Tatiana Canto. I'm from Brazil, and where I've been teaching English for more than 30 years. I'm in love with like young learners and this literacy process and literature for like this age range. I'm really glad I have this opportunity to be here sharing things with you that I've been studying and applying in lessons. Okay, so today I'll be talking about nurturing literacy skills in English language learners because it's a little different since our learners usually, like especially here in Brazil, because I based, like all the presentation on my context in which like we like English is usually an additional language. So kids, young learners, they don't have a huge repertoire like in the English language. So sometimes it gets a little hard for them to develop literacy skills since they don't have a store of words, like a huge one, a huge lexicon to base, like their experiences on. So my first question to you is like, when do you think, like we should start working on literacy skills with kids? You may type here on the chat box. Since babies, as young as possible, 3 years old. since they start going to school. Seven years old, at around 3 or 4, 10. Okay, agree as young as possible, 3 or 4. We have a like huge range of ages, like from babies to 10. Okay, here, but in fact, like as some of you said, as early as possible, right? Because like we will be talking a little bit about like what literacy skills are. So literacy skills are not only teaching them to decode, to write and read, okay, but are all the skills, okay, that are necessary to develop this ability later. Okay, so when they're very young, when they're babies, okay, we may start reading aloud, like when we read, when we show a kid a book, okay, we teach lots of things about literacy. We teach that those images and those letters around there, they mean something. Okay, we teach that you open a book. We teach that like in English you read from left to right. Okay, that those letters that like are images for them, they represent something. So since they are very young, we teach them about literacy, right? So we may start, like singing songs, talking a lot to the kids, okay? And when they get a little older, like we can have interactive reading. We invite them, like to guess, to predict, like to like work on what's the story about, like looking at the cover, and watching, like and observing like the pictures that there are on the cover. So we start working on literacy skills. Okay, we play with language. So when they get a little older, like they're very old, like the preschoolers, then we start with phonological awareness. I'll be talking a little about it. Okay, alphabet knowledge, brain awareness. It's not like brain awareness is like it means, oh, that symbol there means something. Like we're not teaching them to write or read, but we are teaching them brain awareness, right? And we kept building. And then when they get to the early elementary, then we start on phonemic awareness, word recognition, and then decoding. Decoding would be the process of teaching them the writing and reading. Okay. So it's very important to understand that foundational skills, foundational literacy skills are not reading, okay? They are the path to fluent word reading, okay? It's like what we do before teaching them how to read and write in English. So some people ask, okay, but like which are the foundational skills? Okay, if you take a look at the report of a national oral literacy panel, like from the United States, they list, there is not a consensus of like what the foundational skills are, but most of the institutions that work on foundational skills, they list at least these skills that I put here, like phonological awareness, alphabet knowledge, rapid automatic naming, phonological memory, concepts about print knowledge, oral language, okay, visual processing. And then I add like emphasis on oral language. It's very important, okay, to develop, okay, oral language in order to like promote literacy, to promote reading and writing fluently. So, which skills should we first develop? Oral language. Okay. We should develop a large lexicon, a store of words. And I think this is the key point when we talk about English language learners, okay? Especially with our, like students that are not fluent in English yet, for them, some words are difficult, some structures are difficult. We should work a lot on oral language. And how we develop a large lexicon through conversations. Okay, conversations are really important to develop, like foundational literacy skills. Katzenpecher and Silverman and others, okay, they advocate that developing oral language through daily conversations is essential for language comprehension and for reading comprehension. Okay, so first, kids listen to texts, read aloud, and then they read text by their own. There is this way, in order to make them, like read by their own and then to read fluently with comprehension. So something that I may tell you is that when you were telling a story, when you were reading aloud, okay, take time for conversations. Invite them to interact with the stories. Ask them to predict. Ask them, like to show you, like what was said, what was read for them. Good readers know lots of words. Okay. Zucker and Campbell, I'm gonna show you the books later. Okay. They say that the more words students know and the better they know them, the more likely they will be able to understand what they read. Let me just make a parenthesis. It's like, can you listen to me well? Okay, thank you. Lots of noises, helicopters around. Okay, there we go. So, what about our English language learners? Okay, for them, it's even harder. Okay, what is it difficult for them to express, especially like complex ideas, address abstract topics, okay, use advanced vocab, and use some grammar structures. Our students usually they do much better on informal conversations during class, like, oh, how are you, like what are we going to do now, like following some classroom language, than expressing ideas in English. So it's very important for us, like to help them build this knowledge, like to build ways, vocab, and structure to express complex ideas, to address abstract topics, okay, and to use advanced vocab. So, how can we help them? Some ideas on what to do, okay? Interactive read aloud with open ended questions, not only yes or no, right? Instead of like, oh, do you see a dog here? Ask like, what do you see here? So that they can produce language, okay? Then they may say things, like in their, like mother tongue, because they don't know the vocab, and then this is an excellent opportunity for you to teach them this, okay? Work on explicit instruction. Teach vocab, use visual support, okay? Not only unintentional ones, but the intentional ones, okay? Explicit ones. Instruction adaptations to bridge English and Portuguese here in Brazil, of course, okay? So try to use cognates, try to use words that are, they sound the same, okay, or very similar to what they know, okay? And it will help them understand and build knowledge and vocab. And researchers have been highlighting the importance of exposing them to formal language. What do they mean by formal academic language? They don't go to university. What is that? Okay. When we talk to kids, it's we usually use language that they are used to. When I read the story, for example, okay, um, this story will bring more advanced vocab and grammar structures that they don't usually use, like on their day by day basis. So it's very important that you tell a lot of stories, that you promote moments in which they will be able, like to build this formal and academic language, okay? And to make them realize, okay, call their attention to it. Have you seen, like, what did he say? How did he say that? Could you say could you say it in another way? So compare what they know to what they have been just exposed to. Other tips are present information using multiple modalities. So if I want to teach them rhymes, for example, and we're going to talk about it later, okay? What do I have to do? I will introduce the rhyme, telling, like reading the book, okay, reading aloud, and then I may bring a video, okay, with that rhyme. I may plan games in which they will have to identify or repeat parts of the rhymes or the rhymes they have just learned. So I'm exposing them to the same things, okay, through different multiple modalities and to move in different situations and multiple times. In order to acquire, they have to be exposed to that many times. I usually bring this example that, like here in Brazil, usually like when kids are around um, 4 or 5, okay, English teachers usually, like develop projects to work on family members. And then, like they are exposed to mom, dad, brother, sister, okay. Um, but then when the project's over, we don't talk about it anymore. When they are 10 years old, okay, we usually ask like, oh, how many cousins do you have? And then the kid says like, cousins, what is it? And they're saying like, oh, but you've learned that when you were 5. How come you don't remember? No, stop. Okay, they haven't learned, they have been exposed to that when they were younger, but not anymore. And this is not learning. Learning is cyclical. So I have to go forth and back. If I want them to keep using, okay, vocab related to family, for example, I have to expose them to this vocab through time and through different modalities and situations. Okay. And the other thing that is very important is like to expose them to new vocab on a regular basis. Um, Mansell and Martinez, they developed research, okay, and they say that I adapted to our reality here in Brazil, right, where I'm based. So our students may know words in Portuguese that they can understand receptively in English, but may still be building knowledge about how to use the words. So they understand, but they are not able to produce. In order to help them produce and acquire, okay, that language, we have to expose and demand from them. So something that is very important is to engage them into intentional conversation and extent. There is these, I'm gonna show you, it's a collection of books that is called, like, I don't know if you can see, okay, the science written in practice. There are many like books reading about the phrase, 7 Mind movies, okay, it's a collection that was launched this year that works on it. And this one, okay, that is named, like that is titled Strive for Five Conversations, okay. The authors, okay, advocate that based on, like Conhecimento 2003, that we should extend our conversations. And here I brought an example, okay, from the book. Instead of having 3 turn conversations, like, oh, the teacher asks, what are you drawing? A dog. Good job. Extended to 5 turn. So, what are you drawing? A dog. Nice. Tell me what made you think about drawing the dog. And then the kid says, it's my dog. His name is Scott. Tell me more about what you like to do with the Scott. So you are promoting moments for the kids to develop language, okay, to use language in class. I know that we have many students. It's not possible to do it all the time, but this is something that we have to bear in mind all the time. We have to, like, think about, am I giving them opportunities to use English, to improve, to develop language? And here I brought some other examples, okay, from the book on these 5 turn conversations, okay? Instead of just saying, what happened on this page? They are mad. Yes, good, okay? We could move on. They are mad. And then we should challenge the students. Yes, she's very angry. How do you think she should have acted when she got upset? And then the child responds, okay? Oh, she should have used words, for example. I agree. Okay. And then you expand. She could have made a better choice by using words instead of kicking the tower. So simple things. It doesn't take long time. It took seconds, okay, more to develop this 5 turn conversation. And it helped kids engage into more academic formal language, okay, and also to develop, like structures in order to answer, okay. um, this is the same example I put there about the dog, okay. I put it twice. So I do suggest, if you have a chance, like, that you read these. All the books are awesome, okay. I've read all of them. They will be available at Books and Toys soon, okay. So in order to, like, develop oral language, it's also important to choose books that spark conversations. I love kids literature, and I select some that I believe are perfect, like for doing it. Same but different, like it works on, that what kids do and how kids are, like they do things that are alike, but also things that are in a way different because we are unique. Okay. Researchers say that in order to develop academic language, okay, we should also not only work on narratives, on fiction texts, but also on nonfiction ones. Okay. A question just popped up here to me. How about using lyrics of songs that you didn't like very much? I'll be talking about it, okay, when you talk about it. It's very important, okay, and very useful as well. So here I selected some text that will, spark huge conversations, okay, based on non-fact books. Like You Can Taste a Pickle with Your Ear. That is a book that talk about the senses. There is this collection here, so we have like pets, desserts, homes, schools, all around the world. City shapes, like the shapes that we can identify. The Way I Feel, that talks about feeling, 10 things I can do to help my world. That is like about, like helping the planet. It's Okay to Be Different. All Todd Parr books are very good, like for sparkling conversations. This one, I love this story. I'm not, I ain't gonna pay no more. In which, like the kid can help, like painting herself. So it works also on parts of the body. I also brought some more here. Okay. I Need My Monster, to talk about their, um, fears. Animals should definitely not wear clothing. That is very good, like for a sparkling discussion. They have, to, someone said here, like to develop critical things. This is what we do and we, like work on this. Yeah. So, kids also think about, like why they should or why not. Okay. How do you feel? The animals would not sleep. I brought some examples that I will be, like exploring later. Stay cool at school. This collection, what if you had an animal tongue? And then you have like, what if you had an animal nose, an animal eye, an animal, so this is very good for sparkling, like discussions and conversations and building, like knowledge and understanding of some contents. Okay. What Do Insects Do? Okay, it's a nonfiction. Do not like this book. So it talks about germs, like telling a narrative, a story about it. Okay, so besides working on these books, like bringing and discussing and giving, we have to develop activities that promote interaction. This is why though I selected those books, because I love them. They are perfect for interaction. And an activity that works very well, like this is not an activity itself, but it's a technique. Okay. That is called I See, I Think, I Wonder. So first of all, you show the picture. Okay, I love this story. The animals would not sleep. It works on math concepts of sorting. Okay. So first you show them the picture and you ask them, what do you see? Oh, I see. And then they're going to say like what they are able to, like the animals and things, like I see an alligator, I see a whale, and what does it eat? Okay, what do you think? And then you may move into what do you think? Why do you think the animals are like this? Okay. And then you're going to move on to I wonder. I'm going to show you here. Okay. And then another page. Okay. The animals are classified according to their abilities here. Like he tries to organize the animals according to their abilities. And then you move into I wonder. I wonder why all these animals are put it here together. Why? So like you will make them wonder before telling them the story. So this is a huge opportunity for them to develop oral language through I see, I think, and I wonder. How many children are there? People asking me, okay, here. How many children are there in an average group you work with? It depends, okay. On like in the regular school, around 20 kids, okay, and then in the English school, like much less, like around 8. But I'm gonna show you an activity that I did with last week, uh, while like storytelling with around 20 kids of 3 years old, based on this story here. So this one, okay. So I wonder, you will also expand, like to make them do things, okay. So you may take lots of plush toys and make them wonder, okay, on how they will sort those animals out. If you don't have, these are the pictures that I'm talking about, but like storytelling I did not last week, I think, so like last month maybe, okay. These I developed with like 3-year-old students, okay. It was impossible for me to carry all these plush toys, so I decided to print, okay, the pictures on the book. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but here I have, like the animals from the story. And here I got a hanging line with plastic bags, and I labeled the bags. So it was much easier, like for me to carry out this sorting activity. Okay. So I asked them, like to wonder how I could, like sort them out by color, and then they helped me. So they would take the paper pictures and put in place inside the bags. Okay. So based on this strategy of what I see, what I think, and what I wonder. Another example, like that we may use when working on expanding oral language, okay, extending oral language through storytelling. So you may show them the picture, like the cover of the book, and this story is awesome, okay. It's the story of a caterpillar, very impatient caterpillar, okay, that will turn into a butterfly. So you show them and you ask them, like above vocab, will we find the word cocoon in our story? Based on what they see on the cover. What about mouse? What about butterfly, chrysalis, swim? So they will be working on some of these words, may be new for them, okay, and then you'll have to explain what it is so they can like make the inference based on the cover, okay. What words do you think we will find in our stories based on these? Okay, so this is a way to make them think about. What is someone asks me, like, what is the age group in this case? This story is perfect for, like 4 through 10. Okay, it will. I have like a workshop that I deliver that is called like One Book Many Hooks. That like I do believe that telling a story, reading aloud, it's much more into how you sell it to your students than on the story itself. Okay, so it will depend on how you will hook them. For example, let's see, your students know fairy tales, okay? And then they are 8 years old, so they think fairy tales are not for them anymore, but you want them to work on this story because this is a story that they know the plot, and you want to work on some vocabulary structures, okay? So if I show, this book to my student, okay, uh, the Three Little Pig books, for example, and they are 8, 9, they say like, "Ha, come on, it's for babies, it's not for us," okay? And then you have to challenge them. You have to trigger their curiosity. You have to create this need. I need to know that. So I usually ask them, like, "Oh, do you know this story?" Of course, you know. What story is this? Ah, it's the Three Little Pigs. We know this story. And how does it end? Oh, you know what? The wolf gets burned. Mm, do you think all the Three Little Pigs finished this way? And then you challenge them to pay attention. And then you may say, "Oh, I'll tell you something. This one is different." Like the stories in English, like the Three Little Pigs in English, usually, like the wolf usually eats the pigs, and it's a little different from the like Brazilian versions in which the big bad wolf gets burned, okay, or the pigs play tricks on the wolf, so they are always ahead. So I usually bring a different version from what they are used to, and I challenge them this way. So this moment, I hook them. Say like, "Okay, so this is different. How do you think it will finish?" And then they start hypothesizing, creating ends. Okay, so I created the hook. I created it. I need to pay attention. How will it end? How will it develop? Okay. So the story is, like, I do believe that there is no specific age for stories. Of course, we have stories that are, like more related to very young learners, but I think like depending on your goal and on the way, you're gonna use them and, like work on them, they may be told to different age ranges. Okay. um I will leave the questions to the end. I see lots of questions popping up just to keep, like the pace. And then in the end, I will go back to your questions, right? Another way to, like improve vocab is working on new vocab beforehand. Okay. So if I go through this story, okay, and then it says the apple orchard riddle, like they probably don't know what a orchard is. So look up kid friendly definitions. Do you know what orchard is? It is a kind of garden, okay, where there are lots of fruit trees, okay? So you're going to explain in a way that they may understand, and explain in a way that they will, like relate to it. Let me just see here. Okay. So, moving from the meaning of words to the sounds of language, I talked about some strategies we may use to work on the meaning of words. Okay, on how to improve vocab. I know it was few, but I just have like 20 minutes left and I have to move on. So I thought it was also important to share with you some ways, like to work on the sounds of language. Okay, that would be the next step. So when we were working on literacy skills, okay, one, after developing oral language, and oral language will, like, be, like, expanded, like, all through, like, their lives, but we may focus on phonological awareness. Okay, and what is e-touch? This is the explicit knowledge of the sounds and sound structure of spoken words. When they identify the sounds, like pig has this sound, okay, it starts with the p sound. Okay, so they start paying attention to the sounds of the spoken words. And how does phonological awareness relate to reading? Okay, I got these explanation from a research because I thought it was, like, really helpful. So being able to isolate sounds in words and relate these sounds to letters is a part of is a part of learning to read. It is especially important in learning to read new words. If a child is able to sound out the letters and then blend together to put them together, okay, to put the sounds together to form the word, then they can recognize the word and read it much easier. So kids that are, like, exposed to phonological awareness activities, they learn how to read unknown words, okay, much easily. And this is a very important skill to develop when we think about English language learners, because the English language phonology is different, okay, from the Portuguese one. So we have to teach them what is different. And through this, it will get much easier for them to start reading and writing. When we talk about phonological awareness, we move from less complex activities that goes for rhyming and alliteration to more complex activities, okay, that go through phonemic awareness. Now we will focus on rhyming and alliteration, okay, because we don't have time to move on everything. Let's start by rhyming. I selected here the books, like some books for kids, my like favorite ones, to work on rhymes with the kids. Okay, so I prepared like 2 slides of suggestions, and I think these ones are, like wonderful for developing projects on recognizing rhymes. Okay, so of course I focused here on like books, but games, like rhyming games are very welcome. Okay, songs, somebody talked about it, like, are very welcome. As I said in the beginning, exposing them to different situations, okay, is also important in order to acquire and to understand rhymes, right? So I brought here an example. In this story, Bear sees colors. It's based on colors, of course, but like the whole story, like rhymes. So I read the story with them, and then after I read it again, and I ask them, okay, I will read this part, and then you will tell me which words rhyme. Many times they recognize the sound, for example, trail and pale, but they don't know what it means. So I usually connect the words to images. Okay, so I have an image of a trail and I have an image of a pail. Okay, a hair. Okay, hair and a hat, for example, that are not rhyming. Okay, hair and bear, stick and yummy. Okay, so cherries and raspberries. So I have the images to make them understand and to connect meaning to the sound of word. So one of the games, like that we may play is like stand up, sit down. So whenever you say a pair of words that rhyme, they have to stand up. When they don't rhyme, they have to sit down. Okay, so you play, you keep saying words from the story, okay, and you may keep. Sorry, I started reading the comments here and I got lost. And you start like working on the words, okay, first, and then you may play this game. And this, I brought this one as an example, but you may play this game with any of the words that you, any of the books, okay, that you were working on. I love this one to work on rhymes, okay, that is Rhyming Dust Bunnies. I don't have it here because it's a school and I'm in Porto Alegre. The school is like full of water, so I couldn't go there and pick it. Okay. But this is a very nice story. Okay. In which, you know, the friends play on rhymes. So Ted says like, "Hey, what rhymes with car?" And then the others go like, "Far, jar, tar." And the other says like, "Luke." And they say, "No, it doesn't rhyme." Okay, so there are two books. It works with it works on a lot of rhymes. It's a very good exercise for our students. And here I have some activities that you may use as a follow-up. You may have the cards, okay, the cards as I mentioned before with the rhymes so that they can relate the word to the meaning, and you may play games. You may have a rhyming glasses, okay, so they have to look and find the rhymes. You may work on, you know, like your version of the story, right? What rhymes with hat? Okay. And then cat, mat. Okay, they may write. And you may play games, you know, like, do you know the word, the nursery rhyme that goes like, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Okay, you may play rhyming bridges falling down, falling down. And when the kid is trapped there, they have to say a rhyme in order to be released. Okay. And after we work on, so the first phonological awareness skill that you work is rhyming. That's the easiest one for them to identify. The second one is alliteration. What is alliteration? It's like the initial sound of the word is the same, okay, as in tongue twisters like Peter Paper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Okay, they all start by the same sound. So I also made a selection here, okay, of books that work on alliterations. This one, Foot in the Mouth, I don't know if you may see my mouse, okay, works on rhymes, alliterations, and tongue twisters. Most tongue twisters are alliterations, right? This one, the B book, is a chain story. So it was like, oh, a brown bear. And then on the next page, a brown bear with a blue baboon. And then it goes on. Okay. So very nice. And I brought an example here for you from a story that I love that is called Llamas with Lemonade, an Unusual Animal ABC, in which for each, like on each page, you have an animal with an object. For example, a hedgehog with a hat, an eagle with an egg, a fox with flowers. Okay, so based on these, you may develop different activities, lots of activities. You may develop a project, okay, using alliterations with with their names, okay, with the first letter with their names. So now, for example, in my school, Miss Bruna is developing their own version of this book. So each child is creating a book, but they are English language learners. So they don't have these, you know, like huge lexicon developed. So in this project, they develop different skills. For example, looking up words in the dictionary, okay, to widen their repertoire, developing ideas, negotiating ideas with their classmates. Each one has their own book, but they also collaborate with the others. So, oh, Bruna, I have one for you, ball. So they made a list of words, okay, that start with the same sound of the first letter of their names. And then they are developing the book. The book is not finished, so I did some parts for you, okay? So first of all, they select the words that they use and the sentence they would create. And then, Miss Bruna took pictures of them as if they had contact with these objects and things that they selected. After that, the students selected a background for the page of their books. Then the next step was drawing, okay, the objects and things that start with the same sound of the first letter of their names. And the next will be writing the sentence on the book. So we made the book digitally, okay, but it will be a printed book. As I didn't have, it's not over, okay, I knew the sentence, so I select the objects here for you, okay, but these are not the ones that will be exactly in the book. So for example, this book's name is All About Alice, right? So we have Alice with an animal, Alice with an ambulance, Alice with an apple, and Alice in the air, right? So this is just the one idea of so many others that you may do working on alliteration. And here, my illiterate thank you for you. Thank you tremendously for the thoughtful token. Your tender touch truly touches the heart. Through thick and thin, your timeless thoughtfulness transforms tough times. Thank you very much. Here, okay, you have my contacts, okay? You may contact me through Instagram, Tati Canto Assessoria, and also follow Books and Toys Brazil, where you find all the books that I shared here. My email address is here, okay? And Books and Toys has a present for you. The books that I shared here may be found at booksantoys.com.br. And we have a 15% discount coupon for you, okay? That is literacy 15. Thank you very much. I will show my contact again here, okay? I will move on to your questions, okay? Let me see. Some people ask me like, what is the age group? In this case, I don't remember exactly what case I was talking at the moment, okay? Do you have those books? I do have all of them, and you may also find them at Books and Toys Brazil, okay? Books and Toys has a huge collection of, like literary books for kids, okay? Do you give them word, sentence, or time limit involving the children in storytelling tasks? I do give them some time. Otherwise, they will spend some will spend the whole class doing it, and others will do it in 5 minutes. So, I usually set time with them. Does every child have a paper book, or it's a e-version or just a copy? For the ones that we are developing in this project, okay, we do it digitally, but it's for printing, okay? So each child will get the printed version of their own books. Can you share the recording, please? Disal usually, uploads the recording to their YouTube channel. That is Disal Distribuidora. It may take, some time, but it will be there, right? will we be provided with a link to the recording? Okay, just have talked about it, right? By the way, do you happen to know Fernando Quesenelian from Brazil? No, I don't, dear. Okay. Do you have any other question? No? So I will, just finish this webinar session. Thank you very, very much for coming. I know that, it's hard to do it at this time. Okay, so I really want to thank you, right? Bye. Have a nice weekend.